The government is to make it easier for British holidaymakers to travel to much of Europe this summer, including the hotspots of Spain, France and Greece. From the 6th of July, people arriving in the UK from a country considered to be at low risk from coronavirus will no longer have to self-isolate for 14 days. But there are calls for further clarification, as our transport correspondent Tom Burridge reports.
Jetting off abroad should soon become easier because much of Europe is set to be exempt from the government's travel quarantine.
The self-isolation would be a real barrier to going away because of the timing of our holiday. So when we get back, we haven't got 14 days and before our little ones need to go back to school. They've missed out so much, we can't have them missing out on any more.
A series of travel corridors are set to take effect from July the 6th, meaning people won't have to self-isolate. It's almost certain that big holiday destinations like Spain, France, Italy, Greece and Turkey will be included. However, the final list is expected to be much longer than that. Countries like Sweden will probably not feature, and there's confusion over Portugal.
Anybody else?
Ferry companies are getting ready. The number of passengers crossing is set to rise. But Emma Jane, who's been shielding, has cancelled her holiday to France.
Quarantine makes no difference to me. I've got a motorhome with, air conditioning and a fridge. I'm happy. I've got my ice cream. But if I can't get across the border, that's a whole different thing, because the air corridor doesn't mean that they're going to guarantee the ferries are running. It doesn't mean that they're going to guarantee they're not going to shut the tunnel. It's just too high risk. I can't risk not being able to get home.
We believe it can be safe to operate without the need for quarantine.
But for airlines which have been battered by the pandemic, it's a move in the right direction.
We really need to move quickly to establish some safe corridors. And we're not talking about throwing it open to the entire world, but where it is safe to operate, we fundamentally believe that we are also safe to operate, and we need to do that quickly.
Eurotunnel says bookings have exploded in the past 24 hours since the government said it will relax its travel advice abroad. German tourists have already been filling flights into Mallorca. If Brits are also to be welcomed in European resorts, the virus needs to remain under control back home in the UK. That was the warning from Greece.
Given the fact that the UK is in the right direction, it's a matter of a few days or a few weeks to ensure that all restrictions are lifted.
Managing the crowds might help, but no one can predict what will happen in different countries throughout the summer. Tom Burridge, BBC News.